What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we need to talk about the biggest cannabis company in the world and how it's never been cheaper. All right, this stock is one that I have actually been holding for a long time. It's not what you're thinking. It's not Sundial. I know we talk about that a lot on the channel, but it's actually a bigger cannabis company than Sundial. And I will show you right now what it is. It is Tilray, ticker symbol TLRY. It's a very promising cannabis company. They have a lot of revenue, and I'm going to explain why I'm so bullish on them, why I think they'll be going up over the course of the next year, as well as why they're so cheap, right? If you take a look at the chart, you can see that they were initially trading much higher earlier this year than they are currently. They were trading at highs of $67 at the height of the meme-driven and cannabis-driven, I suppose, stock rally that we saw at the beginning of this year. But since then, they have fallen quite a bit. They're now trading at $9.44 per share, and that is off the lows of $8.44 that we saw just yesterday. So they are up a bit off of those lows. All the stocks that we've been watching have been recovering quite nicely over the past 2 days as the markets have recovered from the big downturn that they took lately. So first off, I want to show you this Google Trends chart. And this is actually tracking two stocks on Google Trends to see how popular they are. They're Sundial and Tilray. Sundial is in blue, Tilray is in red. It almost doesn't really matter which one is which because they're essentially the same chart. They're essentially each as popular on Google as the other one is, which is very interesting because Sundial is one of the most popular stocks out there. And it's notable, Sundial technically has more popularity per dollar that's invested in it because Sundial's market cap is much smaller than Tilray's. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So Tilray has a $4 billion market cap, and you can see Sundial has a $1.2 billion market cap. So it's actually somewhat impressive for Sundial that they're able to maintain, even at most times, a higher search volume than Tilray. However, that doesn't mean Tilray's no good. It's just not as memey of a stock, right? A lot of meme stock investors have invested in Sundial. However, Tilray is good for other reasons, right? They're good for more fundamental reasons. Sundial is certainly good for fundamental reasons as well, but Tilray is even better, some would argue, okay? Because they have actually recently, just earlier this year, merged with another company, and that is what created the world's biggest cannabis company. So Tilray and Aphria, and some of you guys may have been invested in Aphria. I was invested in both at the time of the merger. So it essentially just increased my share count in Tilray when this merger went through. And at the time the merger went through, they were valued at around $3.9 billion total. Obviously, that's gone up a little bit since the merger. But they do have combined revenues year over year of $685 million. So that's actually pretty significant for a cannabis company. I believe that's more than any other cannabis company is able to bring in. And this deal also enhanced their US and international presence, which we're going to talk about right here. So Tilray, now that they've merged with Aphria, has a 2.7 million square foot state-of-the-art medical cannabis production facility in Portugal, which provides tariff-free access to the European Union. So this is not just a Canadian cannabis company like Sundial is for the most part, although they are expanding into the US. Tilray actually has production and distribution in Europe as well because of this Portugal facility. And when they merged with Aphria, they actually got a medical cannabis distribution subsidiary in Germany as well. So that's a plus. Now they're in Germany, and Germany is actually in the process of legalizing cannabis. So that will surely benefit them over the course of 2022. However, the deal also targeted growth in the US with consumer packaged good brands Sweetwater Brewing, which is an alcohol brand that they own in the US, and Manitoba Harvest, which is a health and wellness hemp product company also in the US. So those are essentially 2 points of access that they have to the US markets that they can use to help with their distribution and branding once they actually end up having cannabis federally legalized. Once we finally get that in the United States, then Sweetwater Brewing Company and Manitoba Harvest will certainly be helping Tilray out with their US distribution and expansion. And sources say the new headquarters of Tilray will actually be moved to the United States as sales increase and more states legalize the product, despite it still being illegal under federal law, which hopefully that won't be the case for too much longer. We'll see. But some other financial results from Tilray that they had released during their last earnings call, which are fairly impressive, is that net revenue increased 43% to $168 million during the first quarter, and that's an increase from $117 million during the previous year. And the increase was driven by a 38% growth in net cannabis revenue to $70 million, alcohol revenue, so this is actually legal stuff in the United States from their Sweetwater brand, of $15 million, and wellness revenue of $15 million also from Manitoba Harvest. So they actually have a fairly diverse source of this revenue, right? They don't just rely on cannabis purely. And if cannabis laws, for whatever reason, became more stringent, they would still have some alcohol and wellness revenues to fall back on. So it's not the most risky investment. You're not purely investing in cannabis. You're also investing in alcohol and some hemp-based products as well. And during the quarter that they're reporting these results for, they managed to maintain #1 market share in Canada. So the #1 cannabis stock in Canada, which is one of the largest cannabis markets out there. And Tilray brands also rank in the top 5 brands across all adult use product categories. So impressive stuff. And they're also an international market leader and #1 in Germany regarding their medical cannabis extracts. So it is a very good company at a fundamental standpoint, at least in my opinion. However, it's not all upside, right? They did actually end up, though they had a lot of revenues, they had a net loss of $34.6 million during this quarter compared to a net loss of $21.7 million the prior quarter from the previous year. However, what's notable is that they have had profitable quarters. If you look back over the past year, they actually, just 2 quarters ago, had a profitable quarter. They made 18 cents per share. And this most recent quarter, the one that we were just discussing, they ended up losing 8 cents per share, likely because they were potentially gearing up for some more expansion, right? They were doing the Aphria acquisition during that time. Potentially, they're trying to ramp up production or potentially some expansion efforts into the United States. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. I mean, maybe they're marketing, who knows where all that money went, where the loss was from. But it's my suspicion that if they were profitable at this point by such a decent margin, right, 18 cents per share, they surely could have kept that. But it looks like they made a strategic decision to spend more money in an effort to expand potentially into the U.S., maybe gear up for Germany, since Germany is actually legalizing cannabis next year as well. There are a lot of areas they could potentially expand into. But we will take a peek at the short interest real quick just to see and just to show how manipulated this stock is as well. And this graph is actually something we'll look at in just a second after we go over the short interest numbers. But you can see there is currently a 10% short interest regarding the free float. So 10% of shares are shorted, and that equates to about 45 million shares for Tilray. And you can actually see, if you take a look at this graph, you can see that Tilray has been moving down in price. All the while, this red line right here, the short interest, has been moving up. So it's essentially been helping Tilray get pushed down and down as the year has gone on, and this is a similar trend that you can see with a lot of cannabis companies, right? It's not just Tilray, it's a lot of cannabis companies that have been pushed down by shorts. In fact, it's a lot of small cap stocks that have been pushed down by shorts, and Tilray is not actually a small cap stock, right? $4.37 billion market cap. It is the world's largest cannabis company, but it has been getting pushed down nevertheless. And we'll see what happens in 2022. I'm very bullish on cannabis stocks come 2022. I think that's the year that we're finally going to see legalization. We actually have bills in Congress set to legalize cannabis proposed by Republicans. So in the past, it's always been Republicans that have been the scapegoat for why cannabis couldn't be legal. But now that Republicans are the one proposing the bills, it seems more and more likely that we'll actually see cannabis legalization sometime next year. So that's what I've got for you on Tilray. And by no means is any of this financial advice. I'm not recommending anyone buy the stock or sell the stock or do anything with their money. I'm just giving you my opinion on the stock, reading out some of the statistics regarding Tilray. And other than that, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more stock-related news. We cover a lot of stocks like Tilray, Sundial, a lot of stocks on this channel that you guys might be interested in. So other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.